Okay, well, the regional land transport strategy is what you're talking about, and that's just been signed off by the regional council about a week ago, and it strongly focuses on 3 points. So the first point is around strategic corridors, and the best example of that is, of course, the Waikato Expressway. And the second one that we're focusing on is around safety. Road safety is an absolute issue, and there we talk about taking a holistic approach to road safety. It's not just about one thing, it's a whole series of things right across the Waikato around safer cars, safer roads, safer drivers, education, all those road safety aspects. And the third one is around traffic demand, transport demand, and that's a name for things like intermodal change, getting as much freight onto rail. It's about getting freight efficiency. It's about getting people out of cars and into public transport, particularly in the urban areas around Hamilton. It's also about getting access for rural people into buses, so that if they're transport disadvantaged and need to get to Hamilton, they need to be able to have buses. It's about walking and cycling, a whole series of things like that.
So what impact is that going to have on the region's economy, say, over the next 30 years?
Well, over the next 30 years, of course, this sets clear priorities, and that gives the government confidence to invest in the Waikato. And we've already seen that with the Waikato Expressway. And already we're coming into what's called the Government Policy Statement on Land Transport, which was a draft one, was released by the government last week. And in it, it talks about two new RONs, we call them. It's roads of national significance. And these are two new roads, so the government's already talking about investing in the future when the expressway finishes, what happens next. And so it'll be the two draft roads of national significance at this point in time, from Cambridge through to Taupo and Cambridge through to Tauranga.
And the government's already looking at putting funding into that?
Well, it's not looking at funding at this point in time, but certainly it's getting their priority, and they've announced 4 roads of national significance, potential roads.
And 2 of them are
and
here.
2 of them are in the Waikato.
Fantastic, yeah. That's awesome.
One
of the things that is probably a lot on the hearts of Hamiltonians is the rail system, the rail transport through to Auckland. How's that going? Where are we at with that?
Okay. that is one that's it's been bubbling away for many years. It has got good support, but it's not actually just about Hamiltonians. Actually, we've had a tremendous amount of people from the Waikato district in particular are very interested in, and interesting enough, with the new change in boundaries, Tuakau and is now in the Waikato, and that there's significant numbers of people there interested as well.
So there's a huge demand then?
Well, there is. We don't know until we actually start it what the actual true demand is, but there's enough demand there to keep us working as a working party to look for solutions about how we can do this as cheap as we can for the region, and trying to get through some of the difficult parts of it, which are essentially, well, if we had a perfect system, we would go from Hamilton through to Auckland to Britomart. Through this working party, we've discovered that that's impossible to do. We cannot get inter-regional trains into Britomart because of the sheer overcapacity already with suburban links into Britomart. So we have to look for other ways of doing it. So what we've got to now is that we've firmed up on the Silver Fern rail car as probably the best solution at this point in time, starting from Hamilton and going through to the Strand. Now, a lot of people might not know the new word for the Strand, but it's the old railway station where Auckland had it.
So how far is that from Britomart?
So it's not far from Britomart. It's I understand about a 15-minute walk. So it's not ideal, but it still puts you into the centre of Auckland, and there's the possibility of getting public transport from there.
Fantastic. So how soon are we likely to kind of get some actual progress happening on that?
Okay, well, there's still lots of hoops to jump through. The first hoop we probably need to do is to work out the funding, how it's going to be paid for. The second one is, once we've done that, we need to go out for public consultation through our long-term plan. And it won't be just the regional council going out, it'll be Hamilton's long-term plan and Waikato District's long-term plan and Waipa District's long-term plan. So we'll do that all in conjunction, go together on that. And when we get the feedback and if the community still wants to do it, knowing the costs, then we can start kicking it off.
Do you have confidence that, I mean, it's great to pick it up because there's a demand and because we want it, but is there confidence that it will actually boost the region's economy?
Well, I don't know that it's going to boost the regional economy straight off, but I do believe that eventually, at some point in time, rail is going to come to the Waikato, passenger rail. And when that does, of course, and that's why we're seeing this interest in the Waikato district in particular, the towns that are down that line that have had a long history of rail are very keen to get that back again, and with the better connectedness between Auckland and Hamilton, two very large cities, then we're getting people make decisions about where they want to live. They may well want to live in Narrawakea, Huntly, who knows, and then commute to either Auckland or eventually, if the train works the other way as well, they commute into Hamilton.